Hello and welcome into the very first, the origin story of Rock for Him podcast. Now, I know so many of you out there, the thousands and thousands of you, millions even, listening to us every single day on Spock Rock Radio. But we have decided that why not? We're going to kick off a podcast so we can talk to all those bands that you hear each and every day on Rock for Him. So, to get started, I want to introduce you to my good friends, my brothers in Christ. Now, I'm going to kick it off with Mr. Jeremy Brown. Jeremy, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing excellent. Excited to get this going.
I am too.
So, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
All right. As Jason said, my name is Jeremy. I'm 40. I live in Flint, Genesee Township, actually. My wife, Jennifer, and our two kids, Emma and Maverick. And I've just been a huge fan of Christian music pretty much my whole life. And I don't know, there's really nothing around here, which is why we started this.
Yeah. And then also joining us today is my other brother in Christ, Mr. Scott Mullins. Scott, how's it going, brother?
Going well, guys. So excited to kick this off tonight. It's been
Amen.
a while. For those who don't know, Jason and I did a podcast years back that he started called Genesis to John the Revelator. And we went into a little bit of a hiatus and kind of caught the bug again. I think the Lord was knocking on our door a little bit. I was sitting in a message one Sunday, and the pastor was challenging us on what are you doing for Christ? And we'll probably get into a little more of this when Jeremy talks about how the show started, but we started throwing around a few ideas, and we're trying to use this as an outlet for him. I think we all share a love for Christian rock music or rock music in general, by adding the Christian tag, even though I'm not a big guy on tags, but it does creates music with a message, something a little more deeper than I think than we get in just our regular genres. So that's kind of my take. My name's Scott Mullins. I'm from Grand Blanc, Michigan. Married 25 years this year with my wife, Callie.
Wow.
And we had a short stint with a foster child, Imani. And was privileged when I was younger to grow up in a Christian home, privileged to go to a Christian school. So I've been in church and Christian background all my life. And probably thought I was saved at a real young age because it was the thing to do and everyone was doing it. And realized when I was 13 that I was playing a role. I wasn't really doing a walk for God. And it was at that age that I accepted him as my personal Lord and Savior, started to walk the Christian life like it should have been. And I've been trying to do that ever since. And so I'm trying to just encourage people through this and want to see more people into the kingdom of heaven.
Awesome. Well, I am Jason Bukowski, and I did not grow up really in a Christian home. I grew up Catholic, but we never really attended church. And in my teenage years, I actually kind of went the opposite direction. I had a friend that convinced me that I didn't need a cosmic comforter. And we kind of were into some weird, I wouldn't necessarily go satanic stuff, but I mean, we read through the Necronomicon, we read through the Satanic Bible, just very dumb kids. And it never really sat completely well with me. And I didn't get too heavy into that, but I just didn't really understand God and the way I was growing up. Fast forward, down the road, I met my wife, Jennifer, got married in 2006, and her and I started talking about just what else there was out there. And I'd always felt that there was something bigger than me, even though I didn't need the cosmic comforter. I just felt like that there was something out there bigger than just this. And, about a year later, we had our daughter, bought our first home together. And the lady that we bought our home from was just kept telling us, you guys ought to really come to my church. And it's like, okay. Been to a couple churches, didn't really sit well with us. But she just like all the time, because we literally lived right next door to her in-laws. And so she's over there all the time. She's like, hey, you know what? I'd really love for you guys to come and meet our pastor and just talk with him. I know you'd enjoy it. So a couple months down the road, we go to the church and meet the pastor briefly, just kind of, hey, how you doing? Walk in, sit down. And I left that service absolutely angry, because I thought that this lady had told the pastor all about me. The message was geared towards me, like it was eating me alive. And as I'm storming out, I'm ready to just let them have it. And I stopped to the pastor and I'm just like, how dare you just preach at me? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I know she told you all about me. He's like, again, I don't know what you're talking about. I've had that message prepared for over a week now. So, it just kind of spoke to me, and I've been at that same church ever since. Served as a deacon there for a short amount of time. And I actually was in a small group with Mr. Mullins. And we were talking one day, and this weird couple walked in and sat down and they started talking to us. And I was like, man, I don't know, this dude's kind of strange. Well, turns out that he was a retired pastor. And morning before we went to one of our small groups, I was talking to my wife and I said, I really think I want to start a podcast, talk about the Bible. And she's like, seriously? You just became a Christian. What do you know about the Bible? I'm like, I don't know, but that's how I'm going to learn. I want to talk about the Bible on a podcast. I just don't know how to do it. So we go to group and we're sitting there, and this weird old guy walks in and sits down, and he's talking to everyone. And mind you, he's been there for a couple of weeks now. And he says, I'm really feeling the call back to ministry, but I just don't know in what capacity. And I was like, oh, that guy happened to be Herb Bruss, Pastor Herb. And I said, Herb, would you be interested in joining a faith-based podcast with me? He said, absolutely. First off, what's a podcast? So once I explained that, we started Genesis to John, and it was him and I for the first few episodes, and we just felt like we needed more. Like just the two of us, we had great banter, but we needed another perspective. Enter Mr. Mullins. Herb
They really didn't need me, though.
Oh, we needed you, brother. So Genesis to John actually went on for about 6 years. We did a few hundred episodes. We met some great people. We actually incorporated a lot of music into Genesis to John. We met some good friends of ours, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. And it's just been quite a ride. I'm excited for this. I think this is the evolution of where my podcasting life is leading me to. Which, by the way, I actually started off, I realized, in 2006 on another podcast called The Other Side of Life. We were a paranormal podcast.
Oh.
Yes, no. I used to be a ghost hunter. And then we stopped that, and I started a nerd podcast called Nerding Out with Sand Shoes and Granddad. Stopped that, went to Genesis to John. Here I am. So that is my origin story. Now, what everyone's here to hear, Jeremy's going to talk about how this beast came about.
Yeah. All right. So, as I said before, I love Christian rock, Christian metal, what have you. There's no place around here, no radio stations that play it. Not Banana 101.5. They play a few artists like Red and Thoughts of a Crutch and, the more quote unquote well-known stuff. But there's nothing here. And for years, I had prayed to God, I want to do something. I want to do something to bring that kind of music to this area. And I think it was after I met my wife, I really started praying, especially the last couple of years, like, God, I feel you calling me here. What do I need to do? And I kept feeling the urge to start a podcast. I know nothing about it. Scott and I, we go to the same church. I've seen, him at various concerts over the last few years, connected. And he was like, hey, I think I might have an idea, and it's like you were saying, Jason, I mean, you guys were praying about it. Well, I was praying at the same time, and it's so cool. And then, so we all sat down and met and discussed it. And we decided, hey, why don't we do this as like a radio show, 1 hour a day? And, now we're launching into a podcast. I mean, it's gotten, I think it's at this point, it's bigger than ourselves, which I think I set out to be that way. I wanted the focus on God. And I know you guys did too.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost taken a life of its own. Scott came up with the name Rock for Him. I think it's a fantastic name for the ministry. People absolutely love it, I think. And the more we interact with people, the more we do this show, I find myself backing off more and more, like putting the music at the forefront. Like, this is all glorifying God. That's all I want to do with this, is just shout to the heavens that Jesus is King.
Yes, indeed. I love that. So, Scott, can you tell us a little bit about maybe the weekly show that we do, and then maybe some of the bands that we have coming up later?
Yeah, so just to maybe elaborate a little bit on what Jeremy said. Mentioned earlier in my testimony, I went to a Christian school, and at that time the legalism was very high, and they didn't like anything outside of a gospel quartet style music. So they always used to kind of downplay Christian rock or Christian, even anything with much of a beat. So that always didn't set right to me. And as I got a little older, actually, I went away. I attended Cedarville University, and when I was a freshman there, I hooked up with a couple of guys that were into music as well. And we went and saw Stephen Curtis Chapman back in the days when he had the mullet. And we were talking a long time ago.
OG, yeah, OG.
And so my next concert was DC Talk. Had the privilege of seeing those guys back in the day.
Nice.
So
yeah, great show.
I also, being able to get off independently, kind of away from some of that, I don't want to say false teaching, but I would say like focus teaching of what they wanted to teach, but may not have been what I agree with. And so it was probably at that point when I really started getting into, in fact, one of the guys really was into Bloodgood, and then Petra and Striper. And so it was enjoyable to worship God in that different avenue that I had never been thought was a good avenue. I don't know if you guys have ever heard John Cooper's testimony, but his mom was the same way. When he first started Skillet, his mom almost, did either of you guys read the book?
Not yet.
If
No.
you haven't read his book, it's super good. And a lot of this is
Great.
in there, but his mom was kind of against it. just because they had kind of that same legalistic thinking that anything outside of a hymnal was no good, or devil's music, or whatever you may call it. So anyway, kind of back to that, I've always had, and I have heard so many stories come out of Christian rock music of people in jail who were turned on to a song, or a person who was about to take his or her life and heard a message from one of these bands that we play, and just it was a complete turnaround. And that's kind of the audience I think I'm trying to grab, show them that there's hope outside of this misconception of what maybe some of the churches portray. I want everyone to know that no one is better than me. The only thing, I'm a sinner just like everyone else. The difference is I've got the grace of God, and I'm a sinner saved by grace. That's it. And anyone can do it. And that's what I want to put through for the thing. So just kind of reaching out and kind of elaborate a little more on Jeremy. God has opened all these doors. It started out kind of small. We just started joining some Facebook groups and interacting with some of the bands. And next thing you know, I've got C&E and Saved by Scarlet sending me stuff, Cardiac Complex, 13 Minutes. Some that haven't even, and this is the other thing, we're getting some of these independents that are awesome. Azaria, her first 3 songs, I can't stop listening to them. So it's just amazing.
They're really good.
The talent that's out there that's not getting maybe the mainstream, but can use an avenue like us. We're not looking for any monetary anything. We just want it to glorify God and share the gospel through it. So we've got all kinds, Zana, Reclaim the Day, Relesser, Ignescent, all these bands have reached out and are ready to come on our podcast. So, a couple of weeks ago, it's been a little hard because we've all had little circumstances to start the year kind of we were trying to get it kicked off earlier, but
yeah,
God's got his timetable. We just got to run with it, and we know it'll happen. And as long as he's glorified, we're good to go. So absolutely. Jason, you going to tell them about where they can find us and what's going on?
Absolutely. I just want to expand real quick on something that you had said about, the music style that you were listening to originally when you were, in school, and it was kind of like not what we listen to now, like no real rhythms, no real beats. When I became a Christian, all I heard was what I call the Jesus is my boyfriend type of music, where every song was Jesus, hold my hand, hold me, Jesus. Oh, Jesus, I love you so much, which is fantastic. But when every song is like that, for a guy like me who grew up on Metallica, Pantera, Megadeth, stuff like that when I became a Christian, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. And then I found the band that kind of changed my view of Christian music, Righteous Vendetta. And you remember, they were our very first follower for Genesis to John.
Yep.
And because they were just searching out anything that had John the Revelator. Well, Genesis to John, they found it. They started, messaging us. I asked them to be on the show, and boom, here we are. How many years later, we're still really good friends. We still talk.
Stay in your basement.
They've stayed in my basement, even though my wife wasn't sure if they were serial killers or not.
My favorite story.
Seriously, my wife was angry with me. She's like, I'm sorry, you invited who? This band I met online. They could be serial killers. I'm like, but they're not.
They're hitchhikers.
She looks them up online, and they're in their black leather garb, and she's like, no. And then they show up to our house in t-shirts and basketball shorts, and they're watching Veggie Tales with my daughter, and so yeah. But anyways, getting back to the point of what I was supposed to be doing, because I'm playing the part of Herb here. I'm derailing the show. You can find us on all of our social media extravaganzas here. We've got Twitter at Rock for Him. We've got Facebook page, which is Rock for Him. We got Instagram, which is also, I think that's Rock FOUR, because there is already a different Rock for. Yes. So our Instagram is Rock FOURHIM. So Rock for Him. Our email is rock for him, and you spell it all out. So rock for him at yahoo.com. And hopefully, as we're doing these interviews with upcoming bands, we are going to have a little bit of a TikTok account. I've never TikToked. I like watching funny videos on TikTok. I don't even know how to post, but I am going to try it and see if I can help some of these bands gain a little bit of viewers on TikTok. So look for us on there. It's just Rock for Him. And I think that's about it. I think that's, our website is rockforhim.com.
Yep, rockforhim.com.
Number 4.
Rockforhim.com. Go on there. You're going to start seeing content. We're going to have a blog going up there. Every once in a while, one of us might get an idea. And, I've been working on one for a while. That should be going up pretty soon. There's been rumors of possible concerts coming up, maybe that's going to be on there. Some photos, any interviews that we do with bands, they'll be on there. If you just want to reach out to us, here's the thing. If you're not a Christian and you want to know what it means to be a Christian, or you want just to talk to someone, if you need help or hope, reach out to us. We have a Pastor Herb that I talked about earlier. We'll get you in contact with him or one of us. We want to help you. We want to help you understand who Christ is and what that free gift is that he offers us. It's really a beautiful thing. So hit us up on rockforhim.com and just let us know who you are, where you are. If you're a band and you want to get on the show, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you.
Absolutely.
So all that being said, guys, do you have anything else that you would like to say to everyone? Maybe talk about I know we mentioned the weekly show a little bit, and then we have the top 12 on Saturday that I host. Fantastic show, if I don't say so myself, because I'm able to count from 12 to 1, and using fingers and toes, and set a couple pencils.
It's getting harder and harder to get it down to 12. I was thinking maybe if there's a room we could expand to 15. I don't know what you guys would think about that, but
I like that idea.
I can do a top 15, because honestly, I get the 12 and I'm like, I still have more time. So I'm throwing bands up there. I'm like, honorable mention, so yeah. So look for the Rock for Him top 15 coming up pretty quick here. I host a show on Sunday mornings, which is Wake Up and Worship. That's not so much the rock music, but more of like the gospel. There is some rock thrown in there, but it's more to get you up, get you motivated on a Sunday morning, and get you ready to head out to church. Just kind of.
So you're going back to the Jesus is your boyfriend.
It's not really Jesus is your boyfriend. I have played Skillet on there. Brother. I end it with Righteous Vendetta. So there's no, but I mean, it is more contemporary Christian music. Yeah. So, but I took up all that.
I do want to show our gratitude to Spock Rock Radio for just giving us the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Daniel, good friend. And thank you so much. He allows us to be on there 11 o'clock a.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard every day. And then also on Saturday, same time slot for the top 12, soon to be 15. And then Sunday, Jason's show and our show. Yours is at 9. And then I think Rock for Him replay of the top 12 is at 11 on Sundays. So
Is that how it's set up? I didn't.
I believe so. And I think, and then I think your Wake Up and Worship replays at 6. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
replays at 6. Yep.
So,
And for those of you that, Christian music isn't your thing, I do have another show on Spock Rock, Tunes from the TARDIS, Friday nights at 9. Cheesy plug. Sorry, guys.
that's fine.
No,
Actually, the more you listen to Spock Rock, the more it helps the ratings. And a lot of our music gets thrown into a constant rotation. And like Jason said, it's not constantly the Christian rock music, but it's, in fact, what is his slogan on diversification?
Infinite diversity and infinite something or other. I'll have to look. I don't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it's.
You can't listen to 5 songs and not like at least one of them.
Yeah.
Is all I can say.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much have it on all day at work. So.
Yep. Oh, that's you?
Yeah, I'm the one listener.
Jason's our one listener.
Hey, I was on there the other day and we had quite a few listeners.
Yeah,
So-
no, I noticed. And thank you to the listeners. The ratings are looking good. Speaking of that, do we have a spot where the podcast is going to air on Spock Rock, or is that just on your other platforms?
We will have a spot coming up pretty quick. I got to talk to Dan. He was doing some reorganization. He's got another pod that he just started.
Oh, nice.
So once he has that organized and I get this edited down and get it over to him, and we'll figure out a time. So you'll be able to hear this on Spock Rock. And then I am planning on getting this also up on all your podcast catchers. But that being said, we have to have 3 shows before any podcast catcher will accept it. So we need. Oh, I just got a notification from Zoom. Hang on here.
I think our time might be close.
We got about 10 minutes. Sorry about that, everyone. I'll edit all that out. But anyways, we have to have 3 episodes in order to get it up on like iTunes, whatever other podcast places that are available. So once we get our 3rd one, I'll submit it to all those, and then we'll be available to listen pretty much anywhere else.
We do have another place we're going to be featured on. The Metal Onslaught, which is another Live 365 channel.
Awesome.
I got to reach out to the owner of that station to see when we'll be on. I'm not sure what our time slot is, but he told me absolutely. I told him what we do and what he knows from Facebook. From seeing my posts and our stuff, what we do. And I told him we were going to be talking to Christian bands and whatnot. And we're looking for another avenue. And he said, absolutely. The minute you get a show, send it to me. We'll discuss when we're going to put it on, yada, yada, yada. So, if we want to wait and do the 3 till we have 3 in the can to send it to him, I'm cool with that.
Awesome. And I will tell you
another.
Oh, go ahead.
I have another possibility too. So if you get this one edited and can pass it along, this person wanted to see our first gig.
Okay.
And then make a decision.
And as far as who we have coming up, as far as band wise, and maybe I'm saying it wrong, but Azariah, I mean,
I was going to ask her.
Right.
I think it's Azariah. I've talked to her a couple of different times and she is 100% in. She actually wanted to do the show last Friday, but something came up, and then she wanted to do it this Friday. But unfortunately, I'm going to Winter Jam, so I will not be around on Friday. So I'm going to send a message as soon as I make sure that this works, and we are going to get Azariah on. Matt Sassano, Mr. Sassy Pants himself, is like, yes, absolutely. But he's currently on tour with Seventh Day Slumber, so I'm hoping maybe we can do a 2-for-1 and get some of those guys on.
That'd be great.
I've talked to Ryan from Righteous Vendetta. He's like, brother, you just tell me when and I'll be on. So we've got Azariah, we've got Matt Sassano, we possibly have Seventh Day Slumber, we've got Righteous Vendetta. I'm sure we can get Mallcore. I mean,
Oh,
those
yeah.
guys are constantly
Faith
interacting with us.
Head, Royal Diadem,
Yeah.
they're
Grave Robber,
constant.
Grave Robber,
Saved
White
by
Collar
Scar,
Sideshow.
Grave Robber,
Yeah.
Saved by Scarlet.
Yeah.
So for any of you out there, if there's a band that you want to hear on the show, reach out to us on any of our platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email. Go on our website. Let us know who you want to hear. If you're a band, send us your stuff. Just reach out to us at rockforhim@yahoo.com. Let us know who you are, and we'll get you on the show. I mean, we're not doing this for us. We're doing this for his glory. And part of that is bringing glory to you. We're letting it just kind of shine out, just kind of get out there. And if we can bring light to your message, as long as it brings light to him, we'll get you on the air.
Absolutely.
All right. Wrapping up, final thoughts, gentlemen. Scott, you got any final thoughts you want to say?
Not really, just excited, and thank everybody for the opportunity, and thank you guys, and Herb, of course. That's kind of the everybody's like, well, what's the number 4? Well, he's our 4th go-to guy. So,
Right.
God bless, and hope to talk with you soon.
Absolutely. Jeremy, anything you want to say wrapping up here?
I'm just excited to see where God takes this. I mean, the 4 of us, it just seems like I said earlier, God's just already expanded the vision he gave me originally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and I'm incredibly blessed to know all 3 of you guys, and I can't wait to see what God does with this, and I can't wait to connect on a deeper level with these artists and to get to know them better.
Yep. Absolutely. And as far as me, I just want to thank both of you guys for giving me this opportunity to kind of reignite this passion for podcasting that I have, and to do something that has to do with music, which you guys know I love. And not only that, but for the Lord, it doesn't get any better.
The trifecta.
The trifecta. Yep. And for those listeners wondering, well, you guys have mentioned Herb many times. Why isn't he on? Herb is going to be kind of our silent partner. He is behind the scenes. He's praying with us and for us. He is here to help counsel us 3 Yahoos when we need it. He's here to counsel you Yahoos if you need it, when you need it. And he may just pop in and derail the show every once in a while. I mean, he didn't get the nickname the Pastor of Disaster for nothing. So
you got to bring the air trumpet on.
Yeah. So anyways, I just want to thank you guys. I want to thank the listeners, Spock Rock, Dan. This is awesome. I can't wait to really get into this and, you know, grow this with you guys and just see where the Lord takes us. So I guess for Rock for Him, this is Jason.
And Scott.
And Jeremy.
And we just want to thank you for joining us. So have a good night, everyone.